Alright, we're doing an engine swap on this deck. So this motor, it's actually an old Kohler motor. It's a Craftsman. And this motor actually still runs, but it's got some serious issues. On this side, kids were using it last, I think it was in the spring. It was in the spring of this year. But up here where the carburetor assembly and everything is, they came and got me, and I don't know how it happened, but somehow it actually caught on fire. They're supposed to be up through here all plastic. So here's your carburetor, you got your air cleaner box, and all that goes here. So they came and got me and said that something happened. They don't know what happened. You can actually see molded plastic still stuck to it there on the rod. And so they don't know what happened. They looked over, seen smoke, and it was in flames. So they got it out, went on, took their shirt off, beat it, and then by the time they got it out, you see what's left. Some of the hoses are burned up. The fuel line was actually burned off. I'm surprised it was, well, I'm sorry, it wasn't burnt in half. It was burnt to where, well, I'm surprised it wasn't leaking and like really burn everything up, because the tank, that's the main fuel line where it comes out of the tank. So this thing actually still does run. We've had it running. They've actually cut grass with it before, but it'll run for a little bit and it'll bog out just because it's got lines that are unhooked. But I mean, it does actually still run, so it is technically still a good motor. It just needs the air box assembly and everything, because when they was hitting it, somehow they bent some of the linkage up, which I can't believe this thing actually still runs, but it does. So it's not getting trashed. I just don't have the extra money to go ordering the air box assembly and everything for it to get everything hooked back up right. So long story short, we're doing an engine swap, and the engine going on it is the Craftsman 4.5 horse that we picked up on Marketplace from that rotted out deck. And I'll show it to you here. You guys might recognize it from the video it was on. This one runs really well, actually. So there's the motor there. So some of you might recognize that if you've seen that video. Filthy. Man, this thing's filthy. You can see the fuel tank on it. So, I mean, it is filthy. So we're going to, once we get it mounted on this old deck, then we'll get it cleaned up some. So, let me get everything set up here, and we'll do it. These things, it's a really basic job to do. If that's what you want to do. The one thing I noticed so far it's different on this one is your bar where it goes up, and you got your handle where you got to pull your handle back to be able to start the mower up. You got to hold your handle down to keep it going. This one's a little bit different. The cable that comes down to release it to where you can spin it to start it is on the opposite side. Now a lot of your arms up there, I don't know the correct term for it, but where it's black and yellow in the center there and on the sides, a lot of times they'll have cable hookups on both sides of that. This one unfortunately does not. So but the one that we're putting on it, this one's on the right hand side right here where it hooks up, and we'll be over here on the opposite side on the left. So I have to switch some stuff around. No big deal. I mean, worst comes to worst, we'll just use the upper half. I left it hooked to that motor, so we'll just use the upper half of the bar if it fits it. But with that, let's get her kicked up here. So for me, I use an impact. With my shoulder shot, using a ratchet days are almost gone, especially in a tight spot like this. For me, it's my shoulders blowed out, so it's so much easier for me to use an impact. So you got on your engine assembly itself, you have your blade, which I already have off. Mine happens to be a 9/16, and you have 3 bolts. These are off the green where I took it off that green deck. 9/16. Generally, you just have the 3. So you get your blade off. Take those 3 off. They're staggered, staggered apart. And once you get those off, your engine will be free, and that leaves whatever you're doing up there with your cables as far as what kind of motor you have, as far as if it's self-propelled, it might be a little different. Might have a couple rods, but once these 3 are out, we'll get your blade off. You take those 3 out. Now I have the 3 out. Now this engine is loose from the deck. Get this stuff out of here. So technically that engine is loose. As far as being mounted to that deck, it is loose. So the only thing I have left is where the rope runs up. Get that off and get the rope off, and then you get where your cable comes down and runs up. Once you get that off, that's it. I'll be able to take it off. So I'll get this engine off the deck. It's real simple to do. Up there, this has the bracket where it unscrews. You pop the rope off, let it come back up to the engine. This one over here is just a little clip, unhooks, engine assembly comes right off. So let me get the engine assembly off, and we'll see if this other motor will fit it. Alright, there's our deck with the motor off. So hopefully this other one will fit. This thing is actually really solid. It has a little bit of paint flakes down along the bottom. No big issue to me. So get our donor up here. Forgot I still had the bar hooked up to it. Or no, it does run. Oh no, it does run down the opposite side. I thought I was mistaken. It does run down the opposite side. So now we got her up here. Let's see what we got bolt hole wise. Hopefully it'll line up. I have had them to where the bolt holes were off. It would not fit the deck. I usually check them. This one I did not. Looks like we got at least 2 of them. See if we can get at least one of them started here real quick. You gotta remember, been there, done this. If you're using an impact, do not go all hog wild when you tighten these up. My best advice is you just get them started, and when you tighten it up, use a ratchet. Because it will split the aluminum casing of the engine housing. Get this one. I'll need this here in a minute. And I have done it, unfortunately. Get a little start here. And it does suck. Oh, come on, big fella. There we go. So that one's pretty much started. See if we can get one on this side, and then we'll prop her up. Get this out of the way. But there really is nothing to it. Yeah, a lot of times you can get online, like Marketplace, places like, stuff like that, Craigslist. You can pick up if you just need a deck, you can pick them up cheap. I've seen them on there before, so it should be good. Get this in there. I've seen them on there before. People having motor blowed out deck, or not blowed out deck. I'm sorry, the motor's locked up, junk, but the deck is perfectly fine, and they'll sell them dirt cheap just to get them out of their way. I was looking for a couple. I have seen them on there. I was trying to find one for this motor. I forgot all about having this deck. And it was just too far away. It was dirt cheap too, but it'd been a pretty good drive. Alright, get this last one in there. And tighten it the rest of the way down with the ratchet. Oh, all right. I'll use the ratchet the rest of the way, and then we'll check out the top. I'll get it been set to get the bolts tight and then set it down. All right, there we go. So now the engine's mounted. We got ropes hooked to pull cords up here where it's supposed to be. Got the bar hooked up. I had to do the bar a little different. The upper part of the handle, I had to use the one that was on it. The one I had wouldn't fit. But where the bar you pull to let you turn the motor over, that was a different. That's not the same one that was on this motor. The cable was on the opposite side, so I had this one worked, so got that on there. So now it's all good. Now with your cable, you'll have slack in it. Easiest way to do it, I prefer using I did the one I cut off. Zip ties will hold it. I prefer using these are the big wide ones. You can usually get them pretty cheap. I've always had them last longer than these ones. Are the only current ones I have right now. It's just, I mean, they're good zip ties. They're just smaller. So I just put it, instead of using one, I'll throw a couple action ones on it. I just pull them, not pull on the cable. I just get to pull the cable down here to where it feels like it's at a decent spot. Throw a couple zip ties on it to help hold it in place, because you want to keep your cable to where it's you gotta have it too tight. You want to keep it to where when you pull your handle up there, if you don't have enough tension on that, the cable just moves and it will not disengage the locking mechanism to free up. You know, it hooks up around your flywheel. It won't disengage it to where you can start your mower. So you want to keep tension on that cable. I'll currently have 3 of these, so I'll just put 3 on it. That should do it. You just need to hold it in place is all. Or you can use, in the past I use hose clamps, like for a radiator hose of a vehicle. They don't pretty much use them for radiator or heater hoses. The old school heater hoses, the old from the 80s down. They had for the heater hose. Some of them might still have clamps, but you can still get them at the hardware store. You can use those on them, hold them in place. They grip really well, last a long time. So with these 3 on it, should be able to hit the bar up there at the top. We'll try it. Make sure I ain't got no slack. Yep. Good and solid. Make sure it's releasing. Yep, so we're good there. So now what we're going to do is, get an image of it. Is what we do. Try to get some of this funk off of it. You can see here where it's, I don't know where that guy got it from, but this thing's obviously set for a long time. This thing's just caked in crap. Get the deck cleaned up a little bit and just get some of that off. I mean, up around the tank and everything. Up here around the fuel cap and all that. I mean, up in here, I mean, it's filthy. So what I'm going to do is get it down off here and get the hose out, some cleaner, break out the elbow grease, and I'll show you what we come up with. So get a good look at it now, how dirty it is. I mean, you can hardly see the label right here. You can see how dirty this thing is. So we get it cleaned up some. I mean, it's not going to look brand new, but at least we'll get it cleaned up. I'll try to get you a decent view of the top of that motor. I don't know how well it's picking up, but give you a basics of how I do it. One this nasty. I mean, it's obviously been sitting somewhere. The engine itself's been on that other deck, sitting somewhere obviously for a long time. This one, the only thing I currently have in there is lays totally awesome. It's all-purpose cleaner degreaser. Sprayed it down with it, and then use and let it set. I've been letting it set to where it's been on there long enough where it's starting to dry now. So hopefully it is breaking some of that up. I honestly don't know if it will. I know it works good on the minor stuff. This thing's pretty grody. Got a bucket of water with. I prefer using Dawn dishwashing, or not Dawn, I'm sorry, yeah, Dawn. What am I thinking? Dawn and works really well. And so you can kind of see there just from like here where the labels are at. I mean, it works really well. So that honestly, I don't know if the that Totally Awesome helps or not. I mean, I've used it before on trimmers, blowers, you know, stuff like that I usually do. It helps on it some. It's not totally perfect, but when you're broke, you get what you can get, you know. But this works really good. That's why I like Dawn. You can see how well it's breaking all that up. So I'll give this thing a scrub down, and then I'll rinse it off, and then you guys get to see the difference. Alright, there you go. Cleaned up pretty decent. Granted, we're not going for brand new. We're just going for getting the funk off, which you can see on the, show you the tank. There you go. You can see the big difference. You can actually see all the labels. Now, that dog was chasing something. It's going to be kind of hard to hear here in a second. We got the police helicopter flying over. That's why we're trying to get out of this neighborhood. It is just plain crazy here. Let them go by. Like all the time, man. Columbus, Ohio is such a crap hole, man. It's crazy. Anyway, it cleaned up good. And let me get this up here. I'll show you where I did make one mistake. I'll show you. On the handle, you got where the cable hooks up on the carb, which is this side over here. It runs down along the motor, comes up, goes up to your you know, up the bar to the assembly. I had it on the wrong side. Man, that thing's loud. I had it going up this side over here, which was the original motor that was on that Kohler. That's how it went up. It went up that side, right over top of it. And so it went up this side. So when I put this on, wasn't even thinking about it and ran it up, cut the zip ties off. And what it was, I grabbed the wrong bar that hooks up. So I got the one I needed, just hooked the zip ties back up. It was kind of odd because it did release the flywheel, but when I got to looking at it, it was binding up, not releasing like it should. So now we are good to go. It goes all the way up. Here's our string. So we got everything's good. Everything runs down, turns like it should. The deck's pretty cleaned up. Did do an oil change on it as well. Now the blade I have not installed yet. I got it right here. So I'm either going to clean this one up, throw an edge on it, or just buy a new one. Because this mower I'm keeping, and for when we move, which will hopefully be here soon. Actually, there'll probably be snow on the ground by the time we get a chance to move. They're talking 2 to 3 months, if we're lucky. So we'll have this mower and one of the other ones to take with us where we go, because we're hoping to get 2 or 3 acres of land. So we shall see. So it'd either be a new blade on it, or I'll just clean that one up and just throw a new edge on it. But that thing cleaned up pretty nice. And as I say, that's all it was. I let it soak with that LA's Totally Awesome, and then bucket with my bucket right there with some Dawn dishwashing liquid and a little bit of water. Got it real soapy and just scrubbed it down with that bristle brush. The thing actually cleaned up pretty nice. But I tell you, the smart thing to do if you're doing an engine swap like this, when you got the engine off the deck, you're best off cleaning the deck first, especially flip it over, and the underneath where the grass always builds up underneath the deck where the blade's at, just flip it over, clean all that crap out, and just clean it up real nice, roll it back over, clean the top of it off, and the flap right there, you want to get underneath the flap because it all builds up and it'll cause the decks to rot out on that side. And but it turned out pretty nice, not bad. It doesn't take long to do. Like I said, I use an impact on it just because my shoulder's bad and it's hard for me to get in there in an angle with my shoulder, so I just use an impact on it. And but like I was saying, when you tighten up those engine bolts, if you're using an impact or a drill, you just want to be careful. You want to run them up there and just like jam them tight, because you take a chance of breaking that the engine casing there, because all it is cast aluminum, so it will. Don't think it won't split. I've split them before. So, but with that, thanks for watching, guys. It's an easy job to do. So I was saying, if you got a good motor and a bad deck, get on your local marketplace, yard sales, flea markets. Sometimes you'll find them $15, $20, $25, and you'll find one that's got a blowed motor with a perfectly good deck. You can swap yours over, and instead of running out and paying some crazy amount at local hardware store for just a random push motor that's not even self-propelled. I think cheapest around here that I've seen, honestly, is the at Walmart. They had one there at the beginning of spring, and it was just a basic push mower. It was like a 20 or 21 inch cut deck, and it was just a basic push mower, and it was like $200. And it was about a month later it went on sale. I think they dropped it down to $179, and it stayed at $179 all year long. So I mean, you can turn some bolts loose and get your mower back up and running for less than $50. Change your oil and everything on it, tune it up while you got it off, throw an air filter on it. I mean, less than $50, you're back in business. But thanks for watching, guys. It's just my 2 cents. I love saving money. Anything to help someone save a buck. Stuff's getting expensive. But with that, I'll let you guys go, get in here and get in the house, and it's about dinner time. So we'll catch you at the next one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all the new subscribers. It's awesome. So yep, sounds like the Popo's coming back. Alright, man, thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys at the next one.